Hello Aries and Aries Rising. Welcome to your May 2016 reading. This month we'll be focusing, of course, on retrograde since it started in April and it'll be going until the 22nd of this month, which is pretty significant. So I'm going to change the reading this month a little bit to help accommodate that. And by the way, just a reminder, I get these questions a lot in the comments. You can use this for your sun sign, your ascendant, which is also called rising, or your moon. You just want to weigh them out accordingly based on which you're using it for. Okay, but on to the reading. This month we'll continue as always to have channeled information at the beginning. I think that's really important to go above and beyond the cards. But instead of using a catalyst this month, I got the idea of looking at both shadow and light energy, or higher and lower frequency energy, because really what retrograde is about for a lot of us is bringing up some of those patterns in our life where we might be experiencing some of these higher and lower frequencies. And this has, at least for me, been a pretty tricky sort of retrograde period, particularly when it comes to email communications or telephone calls, anything where you're leaving a message and not talking live to the other person. So be very mindful of that this month. You really want to look at paying close attention to not making important financial decisions or business decisions this month, and really be careful with what I've noticed so far in this particular retrograde is writing can be something that you really have to think about, look at it twice, and try to get the tone of it. Okay, so your channeled message for this month is respect. And the interesting thing with this is it's about respecting the other person's point of view, and sometimes bringing them into to an understanding that you also have a perspective, but you don't want to just push out what you have to say without being empathetic. At the same time, if they're not respecting you, there is a delete key, and a lot of us should use it sometimes rather than hit reply or ignore. Just, this is a month to not pick a fight, not try to prove who's right. I even had someone the other night like honk the horn at me and start cursing at me, and they were the ones that were not yielding right of way. And I thought to myself, it's retrograde, they're angry, they're not angry at me. So we have to sort of walk ourselves out of a cycle of feeling like someone's out to get us, okay? I'm gonna be using for you steampunk this month because it actually is really good. The images are a combination of shadows and light, and I switch it up for every sign, but for you, I thought this would actually be really good, and let's see how it goes. All right, let's start with what the message is from the shadow side. And basically this is, another word for this is sort of like a trigger. So let's see what your trigger is this month, or your lower frequency trigger might be. Okay, so beautiful illustration on this of Eros, of love, and basically being very careful not to feel too possessive, it really has to do with possessiveness and trust when I'm looking at the card, and that's sort of the download that I'm getting. And what you want to do to sort of take it from shadow to light is to go higher and more unconditional with the love. If there is a situation in your life where someone is trying to control you or you can't trust them, that really brings up a bigger issue. And rather than like proving who's right or wrong, reevaluate whether or not this situation in your life really is worth your time and effort. And now when we look at sort of the light portion or the higher frequency, if the first one was the trigger, then this one is sort of the opportunity that is waiting underneath that this month. And it says the word wants to be written. So a lot of you, creative types, first of all, this is a great month for you to be journaling, for you to be outlining new stories, to even be going and rewriting your old ones. But for everybody, regardless of your craft, this means think about what you want to say before you say it. I mentioned written communications, you need to be careful about it. So write it down, let it be, see how it feels when you look at it. But also, if you're trying to sort through some things this month, rather than going and yelling at someone, you could journal. You could actually find a way to process it, because this is about an inner journey. It's not so much about business communication, which I mentioned earlier. This is about prayer, meditation, journaling, finding a way to go inward and see what it is that you're really sort of getting upset about. So your opportunity is actually like doing some writing, doing some work, doing some research. I think Oprah says that you got to do the work sometimes. So this would be a month where you've got to do the work. You have to sort of move out of the passionate stuff that kind of gets you all worked up and go more introspective. So that's sort of your combination of shadow and light. And remember that sort of the bridge between that, your channeled message this month is to remain both cognitive of your own self-respect, but also to be respectful and mindful of others' point of view, even if you disagree with it. Okay, so let's get straight into your reading now that we have a combination of the shadow and light elements that we'll be dealing with. And as always, we'll extend it and include health, wealth, love, and destiny. But I loved both of the decks that I'm working with this month, and I thought they would be great for helping you sort through the retrograde energy. Okay. So let me lay everything out really quick, and we'll see what's going on. We do have a couple of tricky cards towards the beginning, which doesn't surprise me since, as I said, we're in a retrograde. So let me push the camera back a little bit so you can see everything. And I'll kind of go through everything that's in front of us here. The center card is all about money opportunities this month. I mentioned that business and financial matters are going to be trickier than usual, and you'll have to be more mindful of it. With the Six of Pentacles, what you have to try to remember is that you can't cater to everybody's desire, or you also can't make everyone happy. This is particularly important for those of you that work in a corporate environment, teams, groups where consensus may be something that's difficult to achieve. So if you are in a leadership role, what this means is weigh the options, make a decision, don't apologize too much for it. You have to move on at a certain point. But you really do want to make sure you have, you listen first. That's the key thing. But it is a card where basically you can't do everything you want. You can't make everyone happy. But what I see is that you're going to be able to navigate retrograde, so please don't panic. This is a great card for being in the midst of retrograde. It just means keep your head above water, try to act with facts, not with emotions, and you may not get everything you wanted done this month, but you'll be okay. From a financial perspective, this is a card about basically cutting back a little bit on luxury spending, just keeping it to the basics this month, and you should be fine, okay? I quickly got a download for job seekers. It means that it may be difficult towards the beginning of the month, but I do see sort of windows of opportunity coming through around the 16th. So allow yourself to do the research, send out the resumes, and then maybe do some follow-ups around the middle of the month. This is a time when many of you are going to get antsy. I feel like when I look here at the Ten of Swords, which is always a dramatic card, this could be a time for many of you to sort of make that shift, just like that card wanted to fly away, to make a shift to get away from an uncomfortable situation. And you know, well, the interesting thing for many of you, if you do sort of find yourself in a corporate environment that no longer suits you, the Nine of Cups in your past shows me that you have a great way of not showing the stress to friends, to family, to coworkers, but it's sort of this light and dark that we're talking about this month. This is what you project to the world. This is really what you're feeling. And this is a month for you to find some balance in it. And even though this is a strength card, I'm looking at the infinity sort of at the top, and it reminds me a lot of the Two of Pentacles. And so what I want you to try to do is balance out work-life sort of like constraints this month, because that is what the Six of Pentacles is about. And I want many of you to sort of like walk away from things that are getting you upset. So if the environment incites you and sort of makes you crazy, the best thing you could do, especially if you need to keep your job, is simply to take a break, to stop talking, to defer to someone else. The Fool in this case is about not overstepping your bounds, or sometimes just letting it go. The Fool doesn't let things bother him or her. She or he just basically goes about their way. And you'll notice with the dog, usually there's a warning sign. And so in the traditional Rider-Waite, the Fool's ready to sort of take a leap of faith on, you know, you're not sure how deep or how far, and the dog's sort of tugging or barking and saying, careful. So pay attention to the warning signs this month. Be careful. You're going to have a friend, or you're going to have a strong intuition I shouldn't say this, and then bleh. So don't say it. Walk away, take a deep breath. Trust me, even myself, I wish I had taken my own advice on some of these things this month. So start doing it now. You're going to thank me, and you're going to thank yourself later. The Magician in reverse for the near future is showing me that a lot of you, particularly when it comes to work, where you're feeling sort of like passionate about a particular topic or about trying to be able to do something the way you want it to be done, you're going to feel like you don't have the power to do it. That's what this card's really representing to me. And so I want you to continue to care about what you do, but realize that sometimes there's not a lot you can do because of luck, situations, people that are sometimes putting up a block for you. So in that case, keep it, shelf it, and then come back to it in about 3 or 4 weeks' time, because there's too much going on this month. It's not worth it. When we look at your present state of mind, so this is a tricky card. The 5s and the 7s for me of swords are always tricky. The 7 is about being a little bit clearer and a little bit more ready to sort of walk away from a situation. And I think many of you with the reversal on that card are starting to see people's true colors in friendships, in alliances, and maybe just in sort of your own decision-making process. Sometimes it takes years for you to sort of sort through it, and all of a sudden you wake up one day and think, how did I get here? What am I doing? And so it's not a bad thing. It's a moment of clarity. And so in that moment of clarity, when we look here at your environment, I have the 4 of Pentacles card. And so the 4 of Pentacles is typically showing someone that is sort of holding on to something longer than they need to. Now, it's also a financial card. So I think what's tethering some of you either in a relationship or a business situation, maybe longer than you think it's wise, is the thought of, will I be safe? Will I be okay? And I think you will, is the answer here, because when we look at your hopes and fears, also sort of the desired action, we have the High Priestess. Now, for me, for the way this is spread out, it's representing the end of the month. It is after retrograde is done, which, if I'm looking at my notes, is around the 22nd, that last week. To be safe and to be out of the shadow, it's really next month. But the last week is when you start to feel like you see everything. You notice it's almost a political card, and it's like, when are all the cards on the table? When do I sort of see everything for what it is? And so your High Priestess ability, your ability to see beyond, to understand past the surface, is going to happen later. Your overall theme this month, because this is your outcome card, is the 2 of Swords. Now it is a reversal, which means that a lot of the misunderstandings that I was sort of hinting at that could be coming, where we see that little dog warning the fool, I feel like you can avert them this month. That's the good news. And I really don't think there is bad news. The bad news is that we're in a retrograde. But I embrace retrograde periods because they bring up an opportunity for you to work through cycles that you've either been unable, unwilling, or maybe even just the word like a lack of energy is the best way I could put it. But I was going to say some of us just don't have the courage. That's maybe a better way to attack these or sort of go head on. And what retrograde does is basically it's your higher self coming through and saying, we signed up for this, let's finish the course. So instead of running away from problems, they come right back at you and you got to deal with them. So view it as a chance to sort of like move through it every day this month, and this retrograde period is going to be a blessing. When you get out of it, it's going to feel much easier. And with the 2 of Swords in reverse as your outcome, what I see is that many of you are going to be also faced with a decision that you need to make this month, a difficult decision. But if we're to pull the camera down and look at what you already know, your crowning card is Strength, which means your own judgment's pretty strong. And I even get sort of a Narnia feel with this, where you have a very good, if it's about loyalty, then you already know the answer. If it's about wisdom, do the research. And if it's just about faith, since all of those things come to me when I sort of look at the lion or the tiger, for what I'm seeing that is that you'll have to sort of take that leap of faith, but it has to feel good, and you should wait until danger's out of the way. The only other thing that comes through for that decision is I feel like you've already made it. It's just a matter of being able to move past the difficulty of just saying the words. Because a lot of times, if it's a confrontation, if it's a moment of speaking your truth, because the 7 can indicate both. It could be, I need this change to happen because of X, Y, Z. Or it can be, I'm no longer feeling comfortable in this situation, I'm ready to move on. So whether you're giving notice, whether you're announcing a new part of yourself, or whether you're launching something that's going to take a lot of effort and you need to let people know about it, the most difficult part is just allowing the words to come out of your mouth, okay? So as expected with any retrograde period, there's some ups and downs, but the overall is pretty good. I want to focus again, we'll do the recap at the end, but with the 6 of Pentacles, you're going to be able to navigate it. That's your central card. Now let's extend it to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. So I'll turn the camera down. Let me do a quick shuffle for the health deck. And let's see, just remembering that health can mean both mental and physical health. I also would say spiritual health, but let's see here. I'm going to take off the top. And this time it's about physical that's coming through. So I know that you're thinking, how is hydration going to help me on like spiritual levels? You'd be surprised. One interesting thing that I learned with the yoga teacher training that I've done in the past is there's only a few ways to sort of get energy out of your body. Exhaling, like the exchanges of gas through like carbon dioxide, oxygen, sweat on your skin, and then also through flushing things through your system. And of course, water is going to be a key way to move energy through your body. So you want to make sure that you're drinking ample amounts of water, at least the 6 to 8 suggested. The other thing is to really limit caffeine and alcohol. As you sort of get more and more on a spiritual path, you realize that both of those have a way of fogging things up a little bit. So you want to just do them when needed, but not all the time. And in this month, I would say really limit it and sort of challenge yourself to see which days you can sort of go decaf and do more water. It's going to really suit your both your mental sort of clarity, and also you'll notice in your body that you're feeling much stronger and a little less sort of on edge, which is really important this month because we can't afford to get into arguments. So when we're looking at wealth, prosperity, and opportunity, let's see what your message is for that. By the way, if you need to call on an archangel during this month for help with health or help with sort of like calming yourself, Raphael is a really good angel, and that came up on that card, by the way. Okay, so when we're looking at wealth, this is a time to not overshare. So for those of you that are looking to launch something big, not this month. And if you want to start to sort of share ideas with other people, just be really mindful of who they are and if they have your back and if they've signed a non-disclosure. The other thing for sort of wealth, because this is about your spiritual wealth, it's also about sort of your karmic wealth. Really be careful in what you say, because it's going to come back to you. So try to put out really positive stuff and allow that to come back to you. So better to say nothing this month than to say something you regret. Okay, and that's pretty consistent with what I saw at the workplace too. So it's better to walk away. And this card is sort of saying also just try not to, if you can't say something nice, really, why are you saying it? There has to, a lot of times when we get upset, the anger is not about the person, it's about what they brought up in us. So sort of examine that for a moment. Okay, let's take this card here for your love. And so we already saw that it's going to be a pretty passionate month because we had Eros come through at the beginning. And so what's going to help you actually, first of all, two messages. For those of you that are already in a relationship, nurture nature is basically showing that it should grow this month. There's a chance for it to go deeper. There's a chance for the two of you to really take it to a higher place because you see your crown chakra here. And really, it could be a healing experience. Now, for those of you that aren't in a relationship, this is a month to take care of yourself. Nurture is about you. So go ahead, and if you can afford it, or if you have a friend that can help you with it, like get a massage, get some acupuncture, take a community yoga class, maybe one where you can pay what you can afford, or just take some time to be quiet at home, because we saw these two are kind of, they go hand in hand. So be meditative at home, relax. And I also want you to think of the environment around you, because for love, what's important is that you love where you live. So you want to, you notice before I do a reading, I light some candles. I make sure that the place is clean, the windows are open. I want it to be inviting for me, but also for you. And so if you want people to react well, you want to make sure that love is all around in what you do. So how you present yourself, how you keep your place, how you treat others. It's sort of like I would say it's like 360. It's all the way around. So you got to make sure that you're putting love and take this sort of passion that you know, that's one of the triggers this month, and put it into all parts of your life. I had a good Reiki teacher that once said, like, do everything with pride, to make sure that if it was the last thing you did and you had to be judged by it, you would be happy with what you did. Okay? So think of it that way. Even a task at work that seems mundane or that you don't want to do, approach it that way. Finally, for your destiny, which really ties up to that light card that we got here earlier, which is the word wants to be written. So a lot of you already know what you want to say, but you haven't found the way to do it. This is a time to seek the help of your mentors, maybe an older relative. This says ancestors, so it could be your grandparent, a mother-in-law, an aunt, or someone that's a little bit older, a little wiser, a little more experienced. It also means for those of you that are in tune with your spiritual side that you can call on your ancestral help and ancestors to sort of bring in more guidance. So spirit guides and ancestors, great place to go this month. But that card has a very tangible today feeling for it too. That's why I'm seeing grandmother, aunt, older sort of friend or mentor in your life that you can trust. And that's really going to help you with the decision-making process. Destiny is about what gets you back on track and in the right direction. So for those things where you're not sure if you should say it, ask them and see what they say. And quickly, you're probably going to know, okay, yes or no. So let's recap, since there were a lot of cards and a lot of themes this month. And basically, with the Six of Pentacles, you have more than enough this month to get through the retrograde. There is a situation that many of you need to move through at the beginning of the month, or it may be a reminder of a painful incident that happened in the recent past. But what I see is that you have the strength to move through it. And with the Four of Pentacles, it's about letting go this month. The Seven of Swords, about already knowing what you need to do, but waiting for the right time. That's why there's the High Priestess. Two of Swords reversed, all about making the decision that's difficult. And the Two of Swords always has blindfolders, so it's about facing what you're really not ready or willing to see. Your challenge this month is to not get too impassioned when it comes to decisions and communication, and to really go a little bit inward, to write down stuff before you speak it, sometimes to just write it for yourself and not speak it, because one of our common themes this month is to go introspective. Make sure that you're hydrating enough, that you're taking care of your surroundings this month, and that you're seeking the advice and the help of those around you. Do it all with respect, and I believe that you're going to enter and exit this retrograde period with grace and with dignity, which is all any of us can ask for. So I hope this was really helpful for you, and I hope that you leave feeling sort of able to go about this month. I don't panic with retrograde. You shouldn't either. Just be more mindful, okay? If you ever need more advice, you can reach out to me. I offer readings one of three ways, either through telephone, Skype, or FaceTime. And you can look at my website for information on how to contact me, and I'll put a link in the corner on that. Otherwise, please keep up the likes and support. It really does help motivate me. And although I read all of them, I don't have time to reply, but I do read them, and I do sort of see what you're asking for and what's going well. Otherwise, if you need to follow me elsewhere, I do have a newsletter, a Facebook page, Twitter, and I know I've left one out, but you'll get the link below. So thank you so much. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again in June. Take care. Bye-bye. Sign on.